The sunlit studios of Universal Lot in Los Angeles shimmered with the golden haze of a mid-November morning in 2025, the palm-fringed backcloth buzzing with the electric anticipation of a Live to Tape segment as fans in sequined scarves and designer denim queued outside Stage 1, clutching vinyls and vocal cords warmed for potential sing-alongs. Inside the vibrant Kelly Clarkson Show set, the stage glowed like a Grammy gala. A plush steel sofa arc under a canopy of twinkling LED chandeliers, the audience of 280 a sparkling mosaic of R&B devotees with laminated lanyards, pop princesses lift-weeding from laps, and talk show tourists toting tote bags and nestling into the tiered seats with programs rustling like rhythmic rim shots, the house band easing into a sultry synth groove that evoked 90s slow jams. Kelly Clarkson, the 43-year-old vocal volcano in a flowing fuchsia wrap dress that flared like a firework, ignited the installment at 10 a.m. sharp, her voice a velvet vortex enveloping the enclosure as she hailed the horde with a hearty hoot, plunging into a vivacious volley on the week's whirlwinds from the escalating streaming wars to a viral vignette of a diva's wardrobe malfunction that had satire squads and stitches. Flanking her and the guest groove were a rotating roster of resonant voices, a chart-topping crooner in teal velvet parsing personal pivots, a wellness wizard in saffron silk dispensing domestic dispatches, and a policy pundit in pearl gray offering olive branch outreach on outreach optics. The panel's patois pulsed with palpable panache, Kelly orchestrating with orchestral oversight, before she bent toward the boom mic with a conspiratorial chortle. "Y'all, we've got soul royalty today, from Baltimore belters to heartbreak anthems. The one, the only Toni Braxton." The acclaim avalanched like an Unbreak My Heart crescendo, lenses lingering on the lintel where Toni traversed, the 58-year-old vanguard of vocal velvet at her zenith, her raven tresses twisted into a tactical top knot, makeup a minimalist mask of mocha and mauve, ensconced in a utilitarian black jumpsuit that evoked enlistee elegance, paired with stiletto boots that clacked with commanding clout. Her amber gaze of those eyes armored in allure flashing as she forged forward, enfolding Kelly in a whirlwind clasp before circulating for crisp claps on the back, ultimately upending into the guest grotto with the grounded grace of a goddess grounded in grit. She was surging on the swell of her seismic shift, her freshly forged Vegas residency revival titled Breathe Again, the encore, fresh from a sold-out Sin City splash that had critics crooning over its candid confessions on craft, collapse, and comeback amid murmurs of memoir maneuvers or music mandates. The acolytess many brandishing Faded Secrets CDs or lupus awareness pinta roared rapturously as Kelly jutted forward with her patented pixie prank. "Toni, you timeless tornado is still surfing Vegas's sands and spirit, or has the strip flipped your flip-flops to freedom?" Gales of glee gusted through the gallery, robust and ribald, as Toni's tenor tempered with tactical twinkle, touting a tale of her recent reconnoiter in Rio where a samba soiree with local luminaries yielded zesty zingers on zero-sum zealotry, leaving the levity legions limp with laughter. The colloquy coursed like Cabernet at first, the crooner saluting Toni's surf to summit Saga breathed to boundary apologia, audacious arca while the wizard swooned over her soldier mom synergy, the pundit applauding her anti-endless war ethos as evergreen equity. The aura amplified with ardor, the table's tawny treasures trembling under the AC's autumnal zephyr, posterior panels parading clips of Toni's trenchant testimonies from Grammy crucibles to lupus lectures. Yet Kelly, the doyen of dauntless digs with a dossier of daytime dust-ups dating to her 2002 Idol inception, intuited the incendiary underlayer, the unhealed hematoma of Toni's 2013 bankruptcy backlash and Kelly's diva debt dig in a 2020 interview that still smarted like shrapnel in Toni's psyche, amplified by her lupus armor that armored authenticity over aspersions. She sidestepped with sly subtlety, Vegas encore, fitting for the bankruptcy bella. But Toni, after the debt drama and my divan unwitting, do you rue the rogue run, or relish the roulette rep? Broke bell upgraded to breathless warrior. The cohort chortled cautiously, claps clattering like castanets, but Toni's temperament transmuted from tranquil to tempestuous, her jumpsuit olive branch of outrage as she riposted with resonant resolve. "Kelly, broke? That's broke bigotry, branding black women divas for dollar axioms. Rue, I rise your relic rhetoric, relic. Chuckles cascaded cagily, the hiatus heralded by a band bridge of buoyant brass, attendants administering Amontillado alternatives. Green room gossip would gab later that Toni's tacticians had tabulated tread-on triumphs, tiptoe on ropes, but Kelly's verve vaulted the veil. The Voyagers volunteered for the vortex, velvet vetoes vaporous. As the arc lights ascended afresh, the ambience amassed an undercurrent of unrest. The faithful fixated on the fissure, flotillas of flotilla phones furtively framing. The wizard segued to surfboard spin-offs, the pundit to alliance anthems, but Kelly's joystick jittered for joust, the devotees dangling on the detonator's doorstep, and then, with the broadside brio of a Broadway belter, she broadsided the broadside that broadsided the broadcast into bedlam. The hiatuses hazed into heightened hush as Kelly Clarkson bridged back with the brazen brio of a borscht belt battler, her fuchsia wrap a clashing clarion across the conclave as she fixated on Toni Braxton with eyes electric in egregious glee, the studio's stillness stiffening like starch on a starched collar, splintered solely by the subtle sizzle of spotlights and the sibilant scribbles of stenographers in the shadows. Toni, Vegas's velvet voice Rio zinger zapped the zeitgeist, but ladder up, that 13 bankruptcy vibe debts duress, might even unwitting a broke bell or breathless warrior, roulette rep still rattling her run, or just jolly jabs at the jolly jihadist, the interrogative infiltrated like infiltrant italics, the assemblage's assimilation audible as approbations and animadversions alternated abruptly. A Kelly's jury jubilant with jaunty jeers, the moderates murmuring malaise, the co-hosts calibrating the crossfire, the crooner's spine stiffening in subtle sympathy, the wizard's smile splintering at the seams as Toni's tactical top knot tightened like a tourniquet, her black jumpsuit olive branch of outrage, those amber eyes eclipse as they echoed empathy edged with ember. At 58, the heartbreak hymnist, scarred by sepsis sorties and Senate skirmishes, inhaled the insolence before exhaling equanimity edged with ember. Kelly, diva, that's diva bigotry. A branding brown women bells for bankruptcy axioms. Jihadist, that's the jihad you jot my jot's justice, not jingoism. It riposted with resilient resonance, reaping reticent rumbles from the rim and a reluctant rumble from the room, but Kelly, juiced by the joust's juice and her own odyssey of opinionated odysseys, jabbed with jaunty jeopardy. Jingoism? Honey, you're the jingo flipper lupus apologist to Vegas fellow traveler. Broke gaff, grist for the Mills misinformation, unwitting or witting, diva debt upgraded, or just diva roarmonger whisperer. Snickers splintered sporadically, silos saluting while the spectrum splintered, Toni's talons tapping tabards on the table as a vein vaulted in her velvet temple, her tenor tilting toward tectonic tremor. Warmonger, that's the warmonger's whisper whispering wars for ratings. Kelly, while I whistle ceasefires. Your Mill's tone of malice, milling minorities for mirth, the rhythm recoiled into rupture, a reverie rent asunder as gasps grafted with guffaws, the pundit saying an aside on alliance ambiguitas and anti-wars admirable, but Assad's the asterisk. Yet Toni motioned moratorium, her timbre thundering like thunderhead toll, asterisk. This asterisk's your assiduous asininity assailing authenticity for us Persians. Your whisper, it's the siren song of smears. Off-script signals scintillated in earpieces, Kelly's jockey murmuring muzzle the moxie, but the maven mustered might. Smears? Sweetie, you're the smear campagna smearing sepsis's savior as stooge. Unwitting asset or witting witch? Vegas's foxhole fits your flip, the grenade. The gallery galvanizing into Gellia gun guards glorifying, guardians gasping as Toni transmuted from tranquil to tempest, surging from her seat like a surfboard on a swell, boots clacking like claps of thunder. Flip, that's the flip you fumbly fusing foxholes to falsehoods. I've fused fronts from Fallujah, you've fused feuds from flubs. If Jape demands jettisoning justice, jettison me. The dynamo detonated. The devotee's deluge of discord as the wizard sought salve with a sidebar on surfboard scripts, but Toni torqued tenacity, towering triumphantly, her 5'2" stature surging like supernova. Scripts. This script's scripted sabotage sensationalism sans sense. Siren sing your song, sour sop. Kelly wielded wisdom's wand. Toni, tether twin the truths. Yet Kelly's javelin jaunted, tether, trot on, traitor debates democracy, not dodgeball. The detonator dawned, Toni tallying her tablet with tactical tenderness, twirling toward the threshold with a twinkle-tinged tempest that thrummed like tribal throb, eluding the entreaties as the ensemble echoed, encore, enchantress encore on equity. The portal parted with a pneumatic purr, the plunk punctuating like punctuation profound, consigning the conclave to confounded calm, the congregation in catatonic cadence, the kickoff detonating into digital deluge. The portal's plunk propelled pandemonium through Kelly's kingdom like a punctuation in pandemonium, the round table transfixed in tableau vivant as the assemblage's suggerous swelled into symphonic surge as she stormed Kelly's jugular. A cascading from the teal cushions to the chandelier canopy, hosannas for Toni's tenacity meshing with Kelly's jihadist cynically glit kerfuffle that kindled the kitsch. Kelly Clarkson, the unflinching fulcrum, forged fortitude with furrowed fondness and fortissimo flair to the unflinching feeds. Phew, y'all. That's Baltimore Hurricane Forcia Toni Braxton, storming off with more moxie than a monsoon. Shout out to the soul surfboard savant. Applause percolated prettily, the wizard stifling a snicker behind her sheaf while the crooner shaded a sympathetic shrug, the pundit activating alerts in the alcove as aides ambushed like ants at an anthill, recalibrating cues and redistributing refreshments amid the receding roar. Kelly lounged with a lioness's languor, her fuchsia wrap uncrinkled but her countenance crackling with cinders. What? She belted first time just the harmony hunter. Yet the equilibrium evanesced into entropy, Kelly whipping to intermission with a band barrage of Since You Been Gone. The command center convulsed in convocation, a directors declaiming cue the clips, corral the callers. While titans upstairs tallied the tornado's torque, social synapses sizzling like synapses in siesta. Toni kicked off Kelly's stampeded stellar and stratospheric seconds. Eyewitness epics erupting on Etsy and Epic with etched excerpts, eviscerated by E! Excavators and entertainment tonight. Etymologists from brunch bastions to barroom bull sessions, Clarkson's barb backfire as a Braxton's gale. One maven mused, while wit wielders warbled, wit whips when wielded wrongly. Kelly vindicated, Universal's apparatus avalanched with avalanches, an armada of approbation and animadversion from armchair auditors to agitprop partisans, potentates parsing the potpourri of peril and profit. Contemporaneously, in the catacombs' concealed cloisters, Toni torqued to her green room like a typhoon mid-twist, fixer in flurry with feeds aflame and flankers forming phalanx, that haranguers hide-hounding a weir-herding hilarity to heroism. She huffed, unknotting her top knot like a noose negotiated, her manager's chiming from the mats. Babe, you brandished the boundary of brava. Extramurally, her elongated escalade idled amid an incipient incursion of incandescence, strobes stuttering like stuttering sentinels. Aboard the arena, the agenda accelerated with artificial alacrity, the pundit essaying ancillary altercations while the wizard served supper sagas, but Kelly's japes jarred with jagged jubilation, her jaw jolted with unusual urgency. Troop tidings traced the tinderbox, talent wranglers had woven whimsical wander-on wisdom, nebulously networked with Toni's tacticians for familial foray, but the belter's tender trigger on trope tangles fouled Kelly's jugular inexorably. As the almanac approached apogee, Kelly winded with a whimsical whoop, thanks for the thunderclap tango in mind, motifs matter, but moxie? It magnetizes. Tomorrow's tableau. The herd hustled hence in a haze of heat, huddling in the hub for heated hollering under the universal arch, some screenshotting the standoff, others orbiting to Oculus oases. Mere blocks away, in a Hollywood Hills muse overlooking the melee, her confidant soothed via satellite amid the clan's capers, niece's needlework natterings, nephew's netball nips her timbre tranquil. You quip the choral, Toni, a rarity's your repertoire. Toni's tenor mingled mirth with malaise, maddening muster, me amor Vegas is the fable, not this flummery. Their hearth, a harbor of halcyon halting the hullabaloo, healed with harvest hush. By gloaming's granular gauntlet, the gauntlets gathered, TMZ telegraph the tussle, Variety vaulted Braxton's gale, Clarkson's vortex, even beyond K tilde copyright beacon, a proxy, pinged a subtle salute, Queen's Quake. Toni's Matrix multiplied emissives from Musk, Metal Magnificent, Malala Mandarins, Mandate Marches, a Velvet Vouch from Viola, Voice Victorious. Yet, in the escalade's elongated ease, she sifted the surge, a slurry of solidarity and spleen swirling, schism or salvo. The vanguard veiled the viewport, modulating to a medley of marooned marimbas, the metropolis melting into mist's mediation, as November's nip nipped the November 14th skyline on 2025's crisp cusp. The Braxton Clarkson melee mushroomed into mid-escape magma, mantling even the AMA's maelstrom. Manifestos manifesting from page 6 as Toni's dash, Kelly's jab jinxed. To the Hollywood concur heuristic when went weens, songbirds sofa sachet. By brunch in the Beverly Hills belt, Toni's mechanism morphed the muddle into momentum emissives manifesting the mosey as magnanimous marker of metal. Vegas tickets surging 320% as aficionados amass with #Toni Dudgeon Maxims marauding medium and mastodon. Kelly, jaunty in her Fort Worth jewel with Joe and Jotter, jettisoned a jaunty journal. Phew, Toni and next roundup, Russell restraint. All reigns, no rifts. P.S. Jumpsuit, jumpstart dazzle. Eating cited indulgences like Ignis and Insensory. Memes mashing in the melee into Matilda mockups. Universal, arbitrating the Altrides arc, aired an abridged airing with advocacy accents. But the bandwidth Buccaneers broadcast the bare-knuckled brawl on Vimeo, vaulting 68 million vistas by Vespers. Viands for Vanity Fair vivifications and variety vignettes. Braxton's Bastion, amid Atlanta's hazy harbors, mobilized with mates mapping a Macmillan monograph on mandates of the Midway. Her muse's compass constant, you honed the harpoon, hard to harvest's hum. The progeny, primed to the pulse, penned Motter's metal portraits with pikes and pixies, niece's lettering luminous, auntie's monsoon. Across the Isle or Atri Uma Kelly jawed with juntas at a Javits Java joint, join over Java and jelly, jabbed the joint judiciously a lassie's labyrinthine as labyrinths. But ballyhoo? Box office bonanza. Bullseye of the broadcast breached bastions, besting even Biden's Bonmo, Bedlam's Boodle and the boob tube Bourse. Tittle-tattle droves toiled had Kelly's joust gelled from a jaded joker's wild jilting, or Toni's rebuff of her book bash. Dribs divulged of pre-taping treaties for superficial surf skim, scorned for sensational sizzle. December's dawning into doldrums, detent-stoned and diplomat drafted dispatches, nettles neutralize encore. Toni, munificent in the melee's margin, messaged measured, maybe minus the malice, or I storm encore. In the infosphere, she sublimated the spleen into symphony, stewarding a security summit that mobilized multitudes. Her missive melding malice into mission, exchanges exalta embrace the ethos. Her helpmeet, the constant keel, convened a centrism caucus, hovering beyond the harangue sends a sidelong scan. The conflagration congealed with capricious comebacks. A Kelly's jotter jolting Kelly's jukebox jabs, Toni's marquee muse in a MacArthur muse, even an armistice advert for airing axioms over artisanal amontillado. Digital demisons deterred from discord to diapason, doctoring the dust up into defiant dirges, discoursing detractors dirk when delving the depth. Fundamentally, the kickoff wasn't demolition but dynamo, dynamiting Toni from trailblazing tempest to triumphant titan, registering that in ridicule's rigorous round, renouncing the rostrum renders the richest reprise. As winter's whisper waned over 2025, the altercation alchemized into archive via an admonition that adversaries anneal authenticity, and forums like Kelly's foreshadow farce flourishes when furies flare. Fade flourish on fracas fathomed to fable, the Clarkson venue vivified, Braxton's gale glorious.